Have you ever scrolled through the news and wondered how a grassroots movement, sparked by stones thrown in desperation, could evolve into a force reshaping an entire region's fate? Picture this: crowds in the streets, tension boiling over, and suddenly, a new player emerges from the chaos, blending faith, resistance, and raw survival instinct. If you've ever questioned the roots of endless headlines about the Middle East, this might just hit close to home, or at least explain why the world can't look away. Today, we're unpacking the story of Hamas, how it formed amid fire and fury, the brutal challenges it navigated, and the controversial path it's carved as both a political and military powerhouse. Stick around, because by the end, you'll see the hidden threads that turned protests into a global flashpoint. Let's rewind to the spark that ignited it all. The First Intifada, that raw uprising of the Palestinian people against Israeli occupation, often called the Intifada of Stones, because, well, that's what they had. Rocks against tanks. It raged from 1987 to 1993, a turning point in the fight for Palestine, born from years of pent-up frustration. Imagine living under a prolonged occupation of the West Bank and Gaza Strip, where every day feels like a pressure cooker. Political dead ends, economic hardship grinding you down, social fabric tearing at the seams. Before this explosion, the Muslim Brotherhood in Palestine was active, but they kept things low-key, focusing on cultural, religious, and social work. Not direct armed clashes with Israel. No guns blazing, just community building. But the Intifada changed everything. It shook a faction within the Brotherhood to their core, convincing them it was time to shift gears, prioritize armed struggle, offer an alternative to secular nationalist groups like Fatah that they saw as failing in political talks, and make Islamic identity the heart of the resistance against Israel. And just like that, on December 14, 1987, right in the thick of those early Intifada days, the Islamic Resistance Movement, or Hamas as we know it, officially announced its existence. Founded by Sheikh Ahmed Yassin and allies like Abdelaziz al-Rantisi, it stepped into the fray with a clear vision. Yassin, a spiritual leader who'd been paralyzed from a young age, became the face of this new force, preaching resilience from his wheelchair. Tragically, both founders met violent ends in 2004, assassinated by Israel in targeted strikes. Yassin was hit by Israeli missiles on March 22, 2004, as he returned from morning prayers in Gaza, a moment that sent shockwaves through the region. Then, Rantisi took over as leader, only to be killed similarly on April 17, 2004, by more missiles. Israel claimed responsibility for both, framing them as necessary blows against terrorism. But Hamas didn't crumble, it hardened. By January 1988, Hamas dropped its charter, a manifesto that laid out unyielding principles: Palestine as an Islamic endowment, or Waqf, meaning no part could be compromised or given away; armed struggle, or jihad, as the only path to liberation; and a flat-out rejection of any political deals with Israel that involved recognizing its existence in exchange for peace. They wasted no time embedding themselves in the Intifada's heart. Leveraging the Muslim Brotherhood's vast social network, Hamas organized protests and strikes like a well-oiled machine, drawing people in with that sense of purpose. They didn't stop at words. They built a military wing, starting with operations under the name Palestinian Mujahideen, which evolved into the official Izz ad-Din al-Qassam brigades by 1991 or 1992. These brigades kicked off armed actions, hitting back with whatever they could muster. And to win hearts on the ground, they rolled out social services, hospitals, schools, financial aid, turning resistance into everyday support, making them indispensable to many in Gaza. Fast forward through years of underground work, and Hamas made a bold pivot, entering politics. In 2006, they jumped into the Palestinian Legislative Council elections for the first time, and shocked the world by winning a majority of seats, a historic upset. Even though Yassin and Rantisi were gone by then, their foundational ideas lived on, with Khaled Mashal steering the political office during this shift. This victory led to a government under Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh, a senior Hamas figure. But triumph turned toxic fast. Israel, the US, and the European Union slammed the brakes, cutting off aid to the Palestinian Authority unless Hamas recognized Israel and honored past agreements. Tensions boiled over into internal Palestinian strife, pitting Hamas against Fatah in a deep divide over politics, how to handle Israel, and outside pressures. It escalated into armed clashes in Gaza by early June 2007, peaking in mid-July. Hamas's al-Qassam brigades moved swiftly, seizing Fatah's security bases one by one. The fallout? A split that's lasted to this day. Hamas controlling Gaza, Fatah holding the West Bank. Sure, there have been reconciliation attempts, agreements in 2011, 2014, 2017, but none stuck, with core fights over security control and strategy lingering like open wounds. That internal rift set the stage for external storms, starting with what many see as the first official military clash between Hamas and Israel. The capture of Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit on June 25, 2006, in a daring border raid. Palestinian militants, including al-Qassam brigades, tunneled from Gaza into Israel, attacked a post, killed 2 soldiers, and took Shalit, wounded, back to Gaza. He endured 5 years in captivity, hidden away with no Red Cross access, just a few letters, an audio tape, and a video released in exchange for some Palestinian prisoners. Human rights groups condemned the conditions, but it became a bargaining chip. Finally, on October 18, 2011, Shalit walked free in swap for 1,027 Palestinian prisoners. Among them, Yahya Sinwar, a name that would loom large in Hamas's future. Speaking of support, Hamas doesn't operate in a vacuum. It's backed by a web of allies, split between governments and non-state groups, fueling it financially, militarily, and diplomatically. Iran stands out as the top regional patron, providing heavy muscle. Qatar's the go-to for political and financial lifelines, hosting Hamas's political office in Doha. Turkey offers strong diplomatic backing, sheltering some top officials. Others like Kuwait, Algeria, and Sudan chip in, while Egypt plays a crucial role as a gateway for goods into Gaza, where Hamas taxes imports to fund itself. On the non-governmental side, various organizations and movements align with their cause, amplifying the network. At the core of Hamas's punch is that military wing, the Izz ad-Din al-Qassam brigades, infamous for operations like the October 7, 2023 attack. Key commanders drive it. Mohammed Daif, the overall chief and a founding mind behind tunnel tactics, rocket assaults, and that fateful 2023 strike. He's survived multiple assassination attempts, emerging scarred but alive. His deputy, Marwan Issa, is the right-hand man and likely successor. Then there's Yahya Sinwar, Hamas's Gaza leader and political bureau head, who founded their internal security arm, Majd, and has deep ties to the military side. He's credited as the mastermind of the October 7 operation, based in Gaza from 2011 to 2024, and stepped up as political chief after Ismail Haniyeh's assassination in 2024. All this built to a series of brutal wars with Israel since 2008, each one escalating the stakes. First up, Operation Cast Lead, or Battle of Al-Furqan to Hamas, from December 27, 2008 to January 18, 2009, lasting 22 days. It was the big clash after Israel's Gaza withdrawal, marked by intense airstrikes and ground ops. Then came Operation Pillar of Defense, or Stones of Baked Clay, kicking off November 14, 2012, for 8 days, notable because Hamas rockets reached Tel Aviv and Jerusalem for the first time, upping the ante. The longest and most destructive? Operation Protective Edge, or Eaton Straw, from July 8th to August 26, 2014. 51 days of widespread air and ground assaults by Israel, countered by thousands of rockets from Hamas. In 2021, Operation Guardian of the Walls, Sword of Jerusalem to Hamas, ran from May 10 to 21, 11 days of rocket barrages and airstrikes, sparked by Jerusalem tensions spilling into Gaza. And the mother of them all, the 2023 war, dubbed al-Aqsa Flood by Hamas and Swords of Iron by Israel, starting October 7, 2023, and dragging on over 2 years until October 10, 2025. It began with Hamas's surprise incursion into Israel, leading to unprecedented destruction, massive casualties, and a humanitarian crisis that redefined the conflict's brutality. Ooh, that's the roller coaster of Hamas, from stone-throwing origins to a divided rule and endless battles. It's a tale of survival against odds, but one laced with controversy and human cost. Does this shift how you see the headlines, or maybe spark questions about where it heads next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which part surprised you most? If this unpacked something new for you, hit subscribe for more deep dives into the stories shaping our world, and let's keep the conversation going.